I'm Leanne Slaton, and this is Brittany Davis. We're the House Sisters, and today we're here with a special guest.
Joseph Kelly and Joe the Mortgage Giant.
So we have had a ton of requests come on and a lot of questions that pertain to lending. So in our industry, Brittany and I, as realtors, have to be really careful about talking about loans because we don't specialize in the loan part of the process. So we brought on a pro that can talk about loan stuff with you guys, because is it not the first step in this entire process of becoming a homeowner?
Absolutely. Talking to a lender, finding out what you can afford, what a payment looks like, and just really making sure that you're prepared for the process will allow for the time when you're starting to search for a property to be much more enjoyable.
Right. So some people come to us and they're like, hey, we want to buy a house in like a year. We're going to use you as a realtor. And me and Brittany, our first recommendation is always, let me get you in touch with my lender. Oh, well, we're not ready yet. So what are the benefits of actually talking to that lender before you're ready to start looking at houses?
Yeah. The truth is you don't know what you don't know. So when you talk to a lender, you can kind of understand what this process entails, what's your credit look like. Because once we know what your credit is, what your income and employment status is, we're able to really give you the proper guidance, give you the chance to work on your credit and make sure you're in a perfect position when it is time.
So instead of being like, okay, our lease is up in April, it's March 15th, I want to get pre-approved, and they come in and they have some credit issues, you're like, this is a 3 to 6 month process to get this stuff figured out so that you can qualify. So then you're behind on your game plan, and that's why it's free to talk to Joe. It's free to talk to a lender to get the advice. They'll run your credit for you. They'll do a thorough vetting of your file so that your employment, your credit, your income, your savings, all of that looks perfect on paper, so that when you're ready to buy, you're just going to look for the house you want.
Absolutely. And it's so important because, interest rates, they're, risk-driven pricing, right? So the better your credit is, the better your ratios are, right? Overall, the better the interest rate you'll get and the more affordable the house can be.
See, that's a great point. So if you do start early and there are improvements to be made, that may equate to a better interest rate, which is a cheaper monthly payment. Mm-hmm. Once you get to that actual, I'm ready to buy, my lease is up, or this is my goal time, November of 2022. So that's why it's so important. And it's not to be pushy or to lock you in or to try to get you to commit. It is really just to help you, because to be completely honest, between Brittany, Joe, and I mean, we're having hundreds of conversations a month with people, and some are ready now, and some are ready in 6 months, and some are ready in 2.5 years. And we're not like the turn and burn type of business people in the industry. We really are relational. We don't do a lot of cold calling and things like that. We want to build relationship. We want to put our people in a good position, and that's our main goal.
Yep.
Sorry.
Fired.
I'm so sorry.
Okay.
It's usually my early day to pick up the kids. But can you just cut that part? Or I don't even care. That was my early alert to pick up the kids. It's early out today.
I just want to add one more point to that. And starting the process early, right? You don't know when you're going to find that perfect home, right? It might just come across your social media feed and you're like, this is the home I want, right? But knowing what you can afford, that gives you that confidence just to be able to say, hey, I want to put an offer in there.
Right. And so that's the other thing, getting pre-approved. Joe can give you an idea of what your payment would look like, because at the end of the day, most people, they determine their budget based on a monthly basis.
Yep.
So it's huge to know, like, hey, if I am looking at a house for $400,000 and I'm including my taxes, my insurance, and all of that, what does my payment look like? Okay, well, that's a lot less than we were expecting. We can really go up and get something better. But it just helps you determine all of those things. There's just a lot of unknowns if you don't start the process. So
yeah, and to that point again, when you're getting pre-approved, we're pre-approving you on 2 points. Number one, we're going to tell you here's what the maximum you can afford. But more importantly, we're going to say, hey, what's the payment that's comfortable for you?
Right.
So that way you can, not be in a position where you're house rich and cash poor. And
right.
then when you search in a range that makes sense. And then if you decide, hey, we want to go a little bit more, at least you can afford it.
Yeah, totally. And so then let's get into like products. There's several loan products on the market. Tell us just generally the 3 most popular.
Yeah, the most popular one, again, a conventional loan is considered the gold standard, right? It's important to have higher credit scores with conventional loan. It's more susceptible to higher interest rates and higher mortgage insurance if you don't have that credit score.
Okay.
The program is great. If you're a first-time home buyer, it's 3% down. There are some programs that also, if you fit into a certain income level, they have better rates and mortgage insurance.
Awesome. And that would be something like a first-time home buyer program.
Yeah, so there's both a first-time home buyer program, but there's also just the benefit of being a first-time home buyer. First-time homebuyer programs would be something that would help with down payment assistance or closing costs to make it much more affordable. I mean,
Right.
there's programs like the California Housing Authority. They have an equity builder program. So if you fit into the income level, they have a 10% forgivable grant, which can go towards down payment and closing cost.
So that's amazing. So you're telling me that if a buyer qualifies based on their income level and credit, whatever other constraints are required by the is that CalHAFA?
It's CalHAFA.
Okay. They can get a grant for 10%, which is forgivable, which means they don't have to pay that back if they live in the property for a certain amount of time.
Yep. If they stay in the house or the property for 5 years, it is forgivable.
10%.
10%. So imagine buying a $500,000 home and having $50,000 forgiven.
Wow.
Insane.
Right?
And on average, people stay in their home between 5 and 7 years. And honestly, if I knew I was getting a 10% forgivable loan or whatever, I would make sure I stayed there for 5 years because that $50,000 would be worth that. Plus, I just hate the whole process of moving.
But even so, like if you were to move before those 5 years are up, you still can. You would just be basically paying back however many years you haven't paid.
Oh, it's a
yet.
prorated
so-
amount.
So it's a prorated amount, and that way if you're gonna make money in that sale and it works for your situation, then you're still, acquiring wealth and equity.
I mean, 20% is forgiven for each year you live in the property. And the reason that is they want to bring up and support home ownership for people who are just entering it.
Right.
So they want to make sure investors and things aren't using these programs.
Yeah.
Other programs, like the other programs, FHA is another one that's extremely popular. It's a government-backed program, which means they're not as they don't penalize you for having lower credit scores. So if you have a credit score potentially in the 550s, 580s, right, there are programs that will support that, right? Sometimes we might say, hey, let's get your credit score up a little bit more for a better product, but it's a very good one, and that again is 3.5% down.
Okay.
And VA loans, by far one of the best loans out there for veterans, and so it's great to support them. They have 100% financing options. So imagine getting into the property for no money out of pocket, right? We get 100% financing. You work with great agents who help get seller credits and maybe cover closing costs. So it's important to talk to us because we can guide you through the process and let you know, hey, we need a little more money, or no, we can take care of it and get you into this where you're at.
And for me, I like to be in control. So the fact that someone would lay out, here's what you can do now, option A, here's what you can do in 3 months, option B, and here's a third option that you may be eligible to use, at this time or that time. And then you can go, okay, that gives me a way to formulate a plan. And that puts me in the driver's seat as the person, as the borrower, and then I can determine what works best for me. Because my biggest thing is when working with people is what's best for them or what they think is best for me is not always the case. And it's nice to be able to be informed and know that information so that, me and my husband can go back and make a decision on the timing of it all. Or if we need to save more, or if we need to pay off some debts or whatever it is,
And I mean, thinking about
preparedness.
working with the lender and agents we're your power team, right? We don't make anything unless you get into a home and you're happy and satisfied with that home. Our business does not go anywhere if you're not giving us a recommendation or referral saying, hey, they did right by me. They took care of me.
Right. Totally. Yeah. So we are actually working on a homebuyer workshop, which is could be for first-time homebuyers. A lot of times people who are doing what we call a move-up buy like to attend these workshops. And it's going to be open to the public. We're going to be hosting it on November 10th in Elk Grove. We're going to do it at Flatland Brewing Company. It's going to start at 6 p.m. So we'll put a link for the Eventbrite in the caption, but we would love for anybody who has questions to join us, have a beer on us, and we can share information and, answer specific questions. And obviously it's a no pressure situation, and most people that come already kind of have a connection to us. So if you're a complete stranger, you are welcome. And if you're a friend, you are welcome as well. If that date date does not work for you, reach out to us via DM or, phone, and we will set up a private consultation so that we can make sure to cover everything from A to Z for your home buying.
Yeah. We hope to see you there.
Hope to see you there. Thanks, guys.